Welcome and thank you for joining us. What do we mean by the word radical transformational leadership? That's our work. By radical, we mean root of. It's not radicalized or a political term, the root of our being. By transformational, what we mean is our ability to create equitable systems and cultural norms that work for us as humanity and work for the planet, work for all sentient beings. And leadership is our ability to create new futures. And in this work, leadership is about everyone, not just those who are leading organizations. It's about our ability at home, in our workplace, and in society to create new futures. When we start our work, we found or put as the foundation of our work universal values. The word universal means that we apply these values like equity and dignity everywhere, not just for a particular group close to us or where we identify with a group. It's for everyone. And these values that we work on are based on evidence. The evidence that human beings are, are able to really touch who they are, the essence of their being. And the essence of our being, self-worth, is important, and our self-esteem is important. We know that. We use it in most of our work. And when we use that in society, we call it dignity. Dignity for everyone, respect. The second is equity. And there is evidence that human beings actually stand for fairness right from the time we are children. When we apply that in society, the structures and the cultural norms that we have, we call that equity. Dignity and equity are foundations. But when we use the word values, different people understand it differently. Too often, we think values are what is important to us. I value my time. In business, it's the value chain or the profit in different processes. In cultural norms, we often say that's our values, but it's actually a norm, like covering our head as women in rural India or in parts of the Arab states. And so we have this confusion with the word values. And often we think it's an operational strategy. Like in one of the universities, Stanford, they said our value is to be able to design referral systems that are based on the best of technology. That's an operational strategy. So values for us are the universal application of equity and dignity for everyone, and compassion, a very strong space. When we see suffering, we act. So how do we use these values in our work? We use them in different templates. We use them in different tools. I'm going to share one of them with you right now. And we call it the conscious, that means intentional, full spectrum, response. It's not a template for just understanding. It's a template for designing our response. So the first dimension of us is, who are we? Because it is through that space that we will design to make a difference. I want to show you how we design currently, which we call partial. And I'll take a very commonplace example, food, which everyone can work with. So here is how we work with it partially. It's not wrong, it's partial. So the example of food, we can use technology. Technology, not just like, what we mean by the digital world, different technical interventions for food. Maybe it's urban agriculture. Maybe it is a soup kitchen for the moment. And what we do by that is we address the immediate cause of the problem, and the immediate cause is hunger. So, yes, we need to have strategies that work with hunger so that food is available. But then, in a world that actually has twice the amount of food available, if we only had the right way of nourishing ourselves and distributed food and priced it in a way that's okay, just having food kitchens or growing more food is not enough. So, the second dimension of our work is to be able to look at systems and norms. And the word systems often confuses many people and say, oh, but it's so big. No, no, we are all systems thinkers. When you really look at how we think for our own everyday life, we take into account the whole system. So, should we be working on systems? Of course. Are there people working on systems? Yes. But too often, these are separated spaces. And third, there is the domain of awakening who we are. And it's not that that is not required, but too often that is separated as if our inner self, our inner development is separate from strategy. And that's not how it is. It's not piecing these things together. So, our first template, which I'll just show you, is named the conscious, intentional, full spectrum, all of it, response, the way we design our response, a model. It's based on evidence, more than 700 large scale initiatives around the world on important issues. And wherever we've worked with it, we've seen outstanding responses. So, this is our first template. It's the foundation of human development. It is the space where we integrate systems thinking with who we are and what we do. So, the next piece that I would like to share with you is really how we are so confused about systems thinking. Please, systems thinking is something humans do. Donella Meadows spoke about that in her writings long ago. She is a systems design person. So know this, that you and I are systems thinkers. We are architects. We know how to design. So I'd like to share with you, just verbally, a couple of other design templates we use. We use the respond and realize template because we know that just focusing on the problem is not going to solve what is the problem. So, in addition to working on the problem and responding on it, we build our resilience and respond to problems in a way that we are building our full capacity. We are expressing our full potential. That template is called respond and realize full potential at the same time, not sequentially. We usually do it sequentially, where it is a way of holding ourselves in a way that we are able to think differently, strategize differently, align our strategies, and address the issue. We just went over design templates. There is another template we use. We name it Synergistic Operational Strategies. And what is this design template about? It is simultaneously putting in place the elements that are required for the design we've created to actually happen. So it's operational, to operationalize my design. At the same time, 4 elements to begin with, and then later refining them further. So the 4 elements: who am I as a transformational leader? How do I develop this? And it's for everybody. It's for people at all levels in an organization. It's for citizens. It's for me in my home. How do I transform any setting in a manner that it is imbued with the foundation of universal values, dignity, equity, and compassion? A very strong space. So the first, developing my leadership. Second, that I use information for decision making, not just hunches, that there is evidence about what's going on, and that I'm able to look at data from a different eye, meaning data without the biases we often have. The third element is policy and what creates the policy environment like law and media. We need that in place. And very important, the fourth element, do you and I support principled risk takers? Because if we do not amplify what is working and we do not support risk takers, we cannot create a new reality. That's what SOS, Synergistic Operational Strategies, is about. And then I want to go to implementation, because it's no good just designing something, putting the building blocks of synergistic operational strategies in place and not going ahead. And I will just share one or two dimensions of that. Communication needs to be different. Communication, which is not about propaganda, but communication that is built from an awareness of self and other. We also work on integrity. So integrity is about whole, and this is about whole systems transformation. I have a need to be whole. It's part of our evolutionary impulse. And when I'm whole, I'm able to notice without judging myself or anyone else when I'm not my word, and I put that in place. For example, I say something and I keep to it. I plan something and I work on it. I notice when I'm out of that space and I say, you know what? I see a gap and I will narrow that gap. I look at the congruence between my values and my strategies. I have the courage to speak truth to power responsibly. I have the courage to create and design something new where everybody is not on board yet. And I am the shift I wish to see. That's about integrity. The integrity lens I just spoke about is light, generative, and it's about me noticing gaps in my actions, strategies, or who I am being. It's not about pointing fingers. And guess what? It creates a sense of wholeness. It's wonderful. We have another template, and that is named the Transformational Results Chain. That's a design template. It connects the results that we are generating with the way we design the initiatives on the conscious full spectrum response model, and who I need to be to operationalize that. It connects what results with how we accomplish it and who I need to be, and who I need to be based on universal values. It's the first design template that integrates the whole system. So this is about whole systems transformation. And it is not very difficult. It's not difficult at all. What it requires you and I to do is to commit to the result and making it happen. It requires me to inquire within, to know who I am and manifest my full self. It requires that I think through. Addressing disempowering isms is vital in society today. The way in which we hold our identity, which is exclusionary and limited. We have limited identities. Instead of that, we could broaden our embrace of humanity, and we could use practical tools and templates to address it. What's also beautiful about this work is taking it to scale. Very often we refer to the conscious full spectrum response model that you saw as a fractal for large scale change. What is a fractal? It's a physics word, and it occurs so often in nature. It's a pattern that repeats itself. So, guess what? For the first time, you and I, everybody, can participate in a global movement for peace, for prosperity, and for a thriving planet. I invite you into this space of radical transformational leadership. Thank you for joining us.